The last paper that
Having just completed their part-time work-based master's degree at CTAD, Lancaster University's Work-Based Learning Centre, Dan Taylor, Karen Johnston and Phil McGrath talk about their experience of studying on the unique two-year course and the benefits they're already finding within the workplace.
Yeah, I just thought it was about time I did some proper learning. Been putting it off for about 20 years. I started young, and I just thought it was something I needed to do to improve myself.
Yeah, for me it was, I've been working in management for about 7 years, but I've never actually had any formal training. I'm not, my degree was in languages, so I've not had any formal management training at all. So I wasn't sure I was doing it right. So I enrolled in the certificate in management first, and then after I did that I progressed onto the Masters.
Our CEO also attended this course at CTAD, slightly different course from the one that we've done. It was more about change management, and at the request of our board, they suggested that I attend, and they thought it might be good to build up my skills.
I've been managing a long time, and I didn't really know how I was doing it, or if I was doing it correctly. So it was a bit of an exploration, a big jump, and it was almost a see as you go, and take it as it comes.
I hadn't done any formal education for probably 20 years. I'd done a management diploma a couple of years ago. So kind of coming into the course from the start, it was a mixture of kind of excitement, but also like nervous anticipation as well. I think first year I thought was fantastic and was a really good base for kind of developing almost basic management skills, but there was a noticeable jump in year two.
Yeah.
I think year one it was almost, we can do this, and year two went, no, we really can't. But I think as we developed it, we got to learn how much we could do, and that the information was out there, we just had to search for it. And I think it was because there was more expected of us to do it ourselves rather than to have it spoon-fed to us. I think that was a challenge for me, certainly.
I think when you look back now over the first year, you can kind of realise that it was all about being prepared to be an independent learner, wasn't it? We mightn't have realised that at the time because you kind of thought you were going through generic management skills, but now having gone through the experience of year two, following year one, you can see that the whole idea of it was to set you up to be in a position where you can go out yourself and actually absorb the information and learn new skills.
Now that I've done the course, I think one of the things that I've noticed is when I look at lists of theory books, I'm not frightened by them. I can pick them up and read through them, and if I want to know how to handle, particularly, I've moved into an area in the duration of the course where I've got a brand new staff team. If I want to understand better how those staff members are working, I've learned that I can pick up a book and have a go at looking at what the book says and trying to put that into practice. I think before you look at these books and think, well, no, I'm not really up to that level, so I'll just avoid that. And I think there's loads of things that I've picked up that I wouldn't have done 2 years ago, and I think it's really difficult to explain that, but you just do things in a different way because you've learned that maybe what you were doing was right, but you could do it better. And I think that's been a massive learning for me.
I don't like working at flying by the seat of my pants and working a bit like, innovative. I'm not that kind of person. I like a structure. I prefer a framework to work to. So for me, like Phil said, the books before is like, oh, it's a management book, I'm not going there. And now it's like, well, actually they do talk sense and it's common sense. So you can apply what you've actually read and think, well, this framework would fit with what I want to do in my role. So in that respect, it's really helped using theory.
Yeah, and I think it's also good when you're talking to managers, your own managers, to say, I'd like to try this out because this is the theory behind it, rather than I'd just like to try this out because I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. I find I can argue my point a lot more now. I can explain, if I've got a suggestion, I can explain it a lot more now. I've got the sort of the background knowledge behind me. I'm a lot more confident at work. I think, doing the course makes you kind of question things more, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of do like the innovative side of things, and when I came to do the interview with Jan and Leslie, they straight away they were saying, yeah, change junkie, because I'm always like trying to look for the new thing. And I think one of the points that I was quite nervous about coming on the course was finding out about theories and principles and then applying them back to myself, thinking, I actually don't do things correctly. But one of my kind of realizations of this course is that theory is just theory, and there can be 25 different theories on one particular practice, and even if you have a theory which doesn't fit with any one of those 25, it doesn't make it wrong. And I've quite liked that side of the academia, in the, you know, the conflict between it and the challenge, and kind of pitting, you know, one idea against another and trying to work through it and finding out that, you know, I don't have to agree with anyone. Ultimately, you know, what's written in the books is just a theory, and that I can still be innovative and decide to go my own way, and it kind of fits in with the role that I do. The whole synthesis thing as well, about connecting you know, different ideas together as well and stuff like that. I think that's been, for me personally, has been a big learning point. The fact that you can take a little piece of one idea and a little piece of another and put them together and you know, maybe come up with something new. And I think that's been like really valuable and kind of informs the way I'm going to take myself forward, I think, really.
I think that's probably why they call it a masters rather than because we're supposed to be at a level where we're taking things apart and putting them back together, and I suppose making it ours, so the way we manage is ours, just realising that. I think for me the best part of the course for me was the support I got from particularly my poor tutor, who must have drawn the short straw to get the emails at whatever hour saying help, and having a response reasonably quickly was fantastic, and being able to just say, look, this is what I think, I've read all this stuff, this is what I'm getting out of it, does that make sense?
In year one, the support that we had from the tutors, particularly on an emotional level as well as an academic level, they really kind of, you know, held our hand and took us through the process. And as you say, they didn't spoon feed us by any means, but they really helped us to understand what learning was about, and that's kind of transferred over into year two.
The management side of it that I got out of it was learning to reflect a lot more. I hated that at first. It's not in me to think about myself. That kind of, you know, always questioning. Now, one of the bad points is now I'm at the point where I question that much, and I critically question so much that I always find fault and want to improve things, so I need to back off a little bit. But I think the actual process of constantly making you reflect on what you've read, what you think, what people have done and why they've done that has actually helped me become a much better manager. Rather than just flying off the handle, I'll sit and I actually think about how people are going to act and why they're going to act a certain way. So you can understand a lot more, and when you understand a lot more about how people work and how they are and why they've done a certain thing, then you can actually have a better working environment and get better results.
I think the advice I would give anybody would be, yeah, do it, because, you know, I regret not doing it a long time ago, and I waited a long time to do it.
I remember us all sat downstairs together 2 years ago. Everybody looked like rabbits in the headlights, and here we are 2 years later, having got through it all. We've all developed, we've all got a massively enhanced skill set from where we were 2 years ago, and, you know, everybody kind of survived it.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from it, and I think I'm a much better practitioner for it as well.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think I'm much improved as a practitioner, as a manager.
The other thing to remember is that Lancaster University doesn't give MAs to anybody who signs up. You've got to work for it, and I think some people think, you know, they're dead easy to get, and they're not. They're hard work, but I think because of the hard work, they're well worth getting.